How do you find yourself? How does a witch die? And do you have a firm grasp on your headology? Welcome to Mythic Mirror, the podcast for fans of myth and fantasy who want to live a magical and fulfilling life. I'm your host, Mary C. Kehoe.
And I'm your co host, Carolina Carter.
Today, we are talking about Witches Abroad. Carolina, do you want to tell us a little bit about this book?
Yes, in Witches Abroad, we follow Magrat Garlick, Nanny Ogg, and Granny Weatherwax as they travel across the Discworld to fight a villain who uses fairy tales and mirrors.
We're switching over to this book because the last book in The Darkest Rising takes place at the summer solstice. So we thought that would be a fun book to read then. And this one goes perfectly with what we've been talking about with story and belief. So, and of course, who doesn't want to hear about another Terry Pratchett book? We'll be covering the beginning of this book. So if you want to read along and be with us for the next episode, you can read Witches Abroad. Carolina, so far, what are some of your favorite things about this book?
My favorite things about reading this book, I've laughed out loud several times. It's almost like watching the blooper reel of all your favorite fairy tales. I love how it weaves them in. So there's this sense of familiarity, and you think you know what's going to happen, but ultimately, um, it it doesn't because the absolute chaos of the three witches coming through these towns is subverting all these fairy tales as you know them, and it just can't help but be funny.
Yeah, that's the brilliance of Terry, where it
Terry.
looks like it's just such complete chaos. I feel like this with every book where things just go so oddball, and yet they're tied together so beautifully. It's really amazing. I don't know how he does it. Did it?
Oh,
He's
I didn't
still
know you're
doing
on a
it.
first name basis with Sir Terry
Sir
Pratchett.
Terry Pratchett. I know. I felt weird saying it.
That was,
And it
should
won't
just
be
get off the
happening
phone
again.
with him.
Yeah.
I like the way Terry writes.
Yeah, it felt wrong.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I love how this book starts out with a witch dying, and that she I just if only we could all meet death the same way she does, and imagine how you'd live your life if you knew at the end you'd know what was happening, death would show up, and you'd chat with him and make him wait while you have your last cup of tea. And then she walked over and laid down in her own grave. And what did she say? She lays down and he swishes his scythe, and she gets up and says, "Well, that was easy. What happens now?" And that's what I'm going. I love that phrase for the rest of my life. That's what I will say after I die. Well, that was easy. What happens now?
I can't wait to hear you say it.
I don't know how to take that.
I can't hear you. I can wait.
Oh, good. I hope so.
I didn't know you just had such plans.
Well, now I do.
Hmm.
All right, Carolina, do
Mm.
you have a favorite quote?
Yes, I love this quote right here. People think that stories are shaped by people. In fact, it is the other way around. And how this ties into what we've been talking about all along, which is that we are shaped by our beliefs. But where do our beliefs come from? The stories we tell. Mostly the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves. And to be aware of the script that's running. Magrat is in a state of trying to find herself at the beginning of this book, taking classes, reading books, just trying to figure out who she is, and she's doing her best.
It's it's hilarious and also not enlightening, but well, yeah, self-enlightening, I suppose, to see a Discworld witch who usually you think of as very aware of themselves and what their role is, and they're taking on evil in all its different forms and helping the community. And to see Magrat, who is supposed to be feeling that way, and instead she just wants one moment away from her own self.
Do you have the book there where
Mhm.
it says the quote about her name where it's just, she could have been different if she'd been named something else?
There wasn't much you could do with a magrat. It sounded like something that lived in a hole in a riverbank and was always getting flooded out. Well, since I've got the book out, I will go to my favorite line in the beginning of this book, which to me, it exemplifies a perfect friendship that is withstood the test of time and between two very strong personalities who perfectly understand each other. So this is right after Granny has seen a face in the mirror and she's broken the mirror. You've gone all pale. Never seen you go all pale like that before. Granny slowly removed a fragment of glass from her hat. Well, bit of a turn, the glass breaking like that, she mumbled. Nanny looked at Granny Weatherwax's hand. It was bleeding. Then she looked at Granny Weatherwax's face and decided that she'd never admit that she looked at Granny Weatherwax's hand. May we all have that sort of friend one day.
Yeah. Yeah. Their to and fro throughout the book is, I mean, it had me laughing the whole time.
Yeah, when you first meet the witches and they are on the mountaintop having their meeting, and it's going through Granny's head of how she thinks about all these other witches, and she can't even be having with Nanny Ogg, who is her best friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so it's just after that Magrat comes in and she opens the door and it says something like, perhaps it was something in the creek, but there was only Magrat could open a door and make it sound apologetic. I relate to Magrat on a deep and spiritual level. I also feel like a muskrat who just doesn't want to bother anybody. Hello.
I know, I was proud of her standing up to Granny when she's demanding that she hand over the
Oh, I would hand it over.
I know. Here you go. I know.
Okay,
Could have
you
been
want it?
hard
You
to
can
say
have
no.
it. Mm-hmm.
With Nanny Ogg in between the two going, no, that's not wonton. Wonton is when you walk around with no clothes on.
Yes, yes. Yes. Oh, man.
See, the problem with doing a Terry Pratchett book is we enjoy the book so much that we could just sit
Mhm.
here and trade lines back and
I
forth,
know.
because who
I
wants
don't
to
think
talk
it's a
about our own
problem.
thoughts when we could trade lines from Sir Terry Pratchett?
Especially if we don't have any.
Oh, you have many thoughts,
Mm.
little Magrat.
Yeah, Magrat, especially with the reading of the self-help books. I shouldn't even say this, but I swear, I don't think I've ever been more miserable than when I'm neck deep in reading self-help books.
Now, which one causes, is it, do you feel terrible and then get neck deep, or you get neck deep and that makes you feel terrible?
Or was I feeling terrible and that's why I started reading them?
Isn't that what I just said?
You ever think about that?
Maybe you're reading the wrong self-help books.
Or maybe I should finish them.
Nah.
Man. Yeah.
No, you need to go to the seamstress in Ankh-Morpork and have her shout at you.
Obviously, that's what I need to do.
That's the wisdom to search for.
Yes.
I love how he sets up the ending in the very beginning, and you have just so many tie-ins and setups throughout the book with, for instance, there's Desderata the witch, and you're learning about what her mom had said to her as a kid. And one of the three things, which some of them are hilarious, but one of them is don't stand between two mirrors. And then the very next scene, you meet the villain of the piece, and she's standing between two mirrors. You learn throughout the book why standing between two mirrors is a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
And he says it in the beginning, which it's one of those jokes that makes you think, where he's talking about the tribes that are considered less sophisticated, thinking, being afraid of anything that takes your picture or a mirror or something like that because it's stealing a part of your soul. Mm-hmm. And he says, which of course is just simple superstition. Although it is true that those who make a living having their images taken in some form or another always seem to fade. Anyway, you laugh and then you're like, oh, it's true. Images are stealing our soul.
Which brings me to my favorite conspiracy theory. I'm so glad you brought this up. This is that people who have sold their soul can't look in mirrors.
Oh. So we could just hold up a mirror anytime we meet someone?
Mm-hmm. And if they won't look, then you know.
What about narcissists who have sold their soul?
I've got a mirror right here.
Whew, but you're not looking at it. Okay, good.
Could you see me in the mirror, though? Oh, there we go.
I couldn't see you.
Ow! Anyway, this is all podcast gold.
First off, for our Discworld delight, TikTok, you were correct. It is Jingo.
Yay.
An absolutely amazing book, which we will have to cover at some point. And for this week's, I have one that will hopefully be a little harder for you to guess.
I know.
Oh, my Pratchett experts.
We call them Prexperts. Sorry.
Say that again.
We call them Prexperts. We don't.
Finished, she said. Seen everything? Sorry, have you seen an old man dressed a bit like me with one of these on his back? No. Now it's my turn. Have you got rhythm?
I love it.
What book is that from?
I don't know. Do you know what I think is so hard about it is because you're so caught up in how funny it is, but there's something scritching at your brain the whole time where you're like, I know this is important and I know there's something more I should be understanding at this time. But then you read on and you laugh, but then it's like, there's like almost like warning bells like, this is really important. You should be taking more of this in, like the mirror thing or the fairy tale thing. Like there's something like always kind of scritching at my brain while I'm reading it, like, you should be taking this more seriously. And I'm like, how can I when I'm laughing so hard?
I think that's how he makes us all better people. I feel like every time I finish reading a Terry Pratchett book, I've learned something, but I'm not quite sure when it happened.
One point made in the first part of this book is that stories always repeat themselves. So what stories are you repeating in your head over and over? In therapy, we call them cycles. In this, we call them stories. And what you need to break the cycle is a pattern interrupter, such as the maiden, the mother, and the other one.
I think we all need Nanny Ogg and Granny Weatherwax to stumble into our lives. Yeah, maybe that's it. We imagine what they would do if they were talking to if they were talking to me instead of Magrat. What would they say? One other thing, a lot of my points have to do with Desderata, which she's only in this one scene.
No, I mean, she's woven through the whole book.
That's true. This is all her setup. She did the whole thing.
Yeah.
She's the godmother of this story.
Oh my gosh. Mary.
When the villain is talking to her through the mirror and telling her how she's lost and she's dying and just trying to get that moment of victory. And Desderata just, so it seems. Yes, some people think so. It just stays so calm and hilariously like she is not giving this woman an ounce of respect or grief or like she's not getting
Or
anything.
anger.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And I was imagining if we all could, when we're dealing with someone at work or wherever where we have to deal with people and they're losing it. And if we could just all be Desderata, yes, so it would seem, and just not take any of it in. And what life would be like if we were Desderata, not afraid of death and never taking anyone seriously.
That'd be nice.
The inner peace would be something else.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina, do we have any listener feedback?
One very exciting piece of listener feedback is that somebody has bought the entire Dark is Rising series and will be reading it along with us now.
Yay!
I know!
That's fun.
And they also asked if we could have a compilation of all book recommendations that have been either ours or listener feedback. And so I think we are working on that. Is that right, Mary?
Yes, that is right. I am setting up lists on bookshop.org so that everyone can see the books that we talk about and all of our listeners' recommendations. And if you buy a book from one of these lists, it supports us a little bit, but also it supports independent bookstores, which I'm very excited about. So that should be up shortly. I'm waiting for bookshop.org to approve, authenticate, whatever it's an A word. So as soon as that's up, we
We're
will
waiting
have
for them
links.
to alligator.
Yes, that's what we're doing.
I knew it.
What is your spark for this week?
My spark this week was you texted me that nori soup recipe that's quickly become one of my favorites and also helps
Yay.
with the common head cold.
My spark this week was one night we had a very calm, clear night, and I went outside and looked at the stars. And Jupiter is very bright right now, or at least it was that night. It's like peaceful and a reality check of looking at something that is so much bigger than you are and so much bigger than your planet is. To me, that gives me peace.
You see the stars, Mr. Frodo? They're
Yeah.
untouched by any darkness down here.
Truth. Tolkien, he said it best.
I said it's second best. So stupid.
Well, you both said it better than me.
No.
Find your copy of Witches Abroad and read along with us for next week. Thank you for visiting with us. Please give a thumbs up or 5 stars wherever you are listening or watching. If you would like the first taste of my fantasy world, go to maryckehoe.com for my free story. We are so grateful to be spiraling through the universe with all of you. It's not always easy, but no good story ever is.